OZ Sherpa Ashley Tyson here, and if you have questions about opportunity zones, what they are, how you can take advantage of them, and what the brass tacks are about how you actually do them, go to www.OZPros.com today and schedule a strategy call. We've had over 1,500 strategy calls with folks from around the country to help them execute on their opportunity zone journey. We're passionate about helping people to learn about them, to actually get their opportunity funds set up, and then to make sure that they're compliant on an ongoing basis. And we do that through a number of really transparent products that you know exactly what you're spending and what you're gonna get. That includes our OZPros Compliance Bootcamp, which is a weekly call where you can jump in and get your questions answered and make sure that you are on the right path, or through our OZWorks group community, which is a network, a virtual network of all things opportunity zone. So we've got tons of resources for being able to help you learn how you can do well by doing good in these things called opportunity zones, which I think is the greatest generational wealth creation opportunity ever created by Congress. So go to www.OZPros.com today and you can get your opportunity zone on.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm here with Ashley Tyson, my brother from another mother, and we are finishing up day 3 of the
OZWorks Group Puerto Rico Investing Mastermind.
And we figured we'd take some time to sit and talk about some additional things that have to do with Puerto Rico and all things opportunity zones. So I was just gonna ask a few questions to let the expert tell us about it, and hopefully we'll all get some value out of it.
Absolutely. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to come down here and to share the stage with some fantastic folks like Adam Greenfader and the folks here at Invest PR, Grant Thornton, and it was amazing all of the sessions, how much takeaway value came out of them. I've been to a lot of these, and invariably they talk kind of big picture and kind of ethereal, and then you kind of walk away and you're like, oh, it sounds kind of cool, but how do I actually do it? Yep. And so that's what we're all about, both at OZPros and inside of OZWorks Group. We're all about helping people do opportunity zones. Yep. So, man, let's nail out some questions here.
All right, that's cool. And I will say about this, I did a video before that it would be life-changing. I had multiple people during the 3 days come up and say, hey, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. So that's life-changing. That's life-changing, right?
That is life-changing.
Definitely there will be investments that are made in the island from this. Absolutely, I think that, I don't think there's anyone who attended that didn't get value out of it. I mean, Adam just kind of knocked the ball out of the park as the first speaker, and it just kind of kept going and getting better and better from there. It was amazing.
So the last 2 events were also life-changing, and those 2 events resulted in $17 million worth of investments here on the island.
Wow. So that's really impressive.
Unbelievable. So it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out and how much investment comes as a result of this, how many people are moving to the island, and what invariably things spawn from this that you had no idea were going to happen. Yeah. It's that happenstance that is not so happenstance that's really cool.
Yeah. So even with me, so I'm now thinking about stuff I've never thought about before. I'm a real estate guy, and we like investing in businesses through our real estate, but I had a penny drop moment. We've talked about it before. It's kind of continued this week with the idea and the thought that 98% of the island is an opportunity zone. So by default, every business that's inside of the 98% of the island could be an opportunity to be an opportunity zone investment. And so there may be many projects that are out there where people need a cash infusion, and that if we structured it correctly, it could be an opportunity zone play for, like, my wife and I in our small fund, and we could do a micro investment or something like that. So one example would be like in Carolina. Let's say there's a laundromat that's there, and they've got 25-year-old equipment, right? Mm-hmm. And the place doesn't have AC. And so if we could go in and find something like that and buy new equipment with them and make some kind of cash infusion into the business, could that work as an opportunity zone play? Is that?
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about Puerto Rico, to your point, is that basically all you have to do to become a qualified opportunity zone business is either be a partnership, or you could actually be a single member LLC, because when you raise your hand and you say, okay, I want to take opportunity zone capital, I want to accept cash from a qualified opportunity fund, when you do that, you're going to, by very definition, become a partnership, which is the one qualification inside of a QOZB that you need to be in order to actually be a QOZB. And so you're going to amend your compliance docs, so the organizing docs, like your operating agreement or your bylaws, you're going to add in a provision that you're going to comply with the 5 rules that are set out for operating businesses.
Right.
And those are real fast. It's 70% of your property needs to be opportunity zone property, 50% of your income needs to come from a zone, 40% of your intangible property needs to be used in the trade or business. You can't have more than 5% non-qualified financial property, which is cash or stocks or bonds. They didn't want people setting up like stock trading companies in opportunity zones. And you can't be a sin business. And that's a golf course, which that's
obvious
a sin, right?
Obvious.
And an off-premises alcohol consumption, or a massage parlor, hot tub facility, or gambling, like racetrack.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand those others, but the golf course is like a good walk interrupted, so obviously a sin business.
Exactly. So all you have to do if you want to become a QOZB is literally, put together what you're going to do with the money, and then make an offering to a qualified opportunity fund. That money is going to come into the business, and it's going to become an opportunity zone business when that happens. When you make that investment, you're going to want some covenants in there that's going to say that they're going to comply with all the rules and they're going to get you certain information that you're going to need.
Yep.
But then they need to use that money for actual improvements. So they need to use it for a product line, or they need to pay off debt with it. They can't take that money and basically put it in your pocket. You can't buy the membership interest from them, because it's got to be original issue for cash. And that's pretty much the only requirements of what you would need to do. Now there's obviously nuances, and there's nuances when you're buying an existing company in an opportunity zone. Namely, that if they've already depreciated the stuff in the zone, then that equipment's not going to qualify.
That's bad assets.
That'd be a bad asset.
But if they were to sell that stuff that they've got a zero basis in, they create a gain, and now they can also create their own opportunity zone fund and invest back into their business.
That's exactly right. So quite frankly, what they might want to do is do that on the front end.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, we can then let the person that's actually got the business be able to get the same tax benefit as you would get.
Yep.
Because if they don't do that, if they don't have a capital gain that they can put into the business, then they're ultimately not going to get the benefit of the opportunity zone legislation.
And so is there anything wrong with the way that I'm thinking about this? And I'm not speaking to anyone about this, but just the idea. Let's say I have a strip mall.
Oh, you got a deal baked. Oh,
I've got a strip mall that could be a little nicer than where the current place is, and we move them into our building. Nothing wrong with that, right? So I can have a lease with them, and I can do a cash infusion into their business and take some equity. And
so what they're going to want to do too is you're going to want to structure that lease so that it's like a 3-year lease with like 5 3-year options.
Okay.
And then you're going to want escalators on each one of those options, because when you have that number value associated with the options, you're able to count all of those lease payments as a good asset in your good asset calculation.
Okay.
Now you have to take a net present value discount on it. And we've got a whole video series about how you actually do this that we offer at OZPros, where we walk you through how you calculate a net present value of a lease. We've got a sample lease, we've got a net present value calculator, and you can get that bundle if this is something that you're interested in this particular one.
All right, so we need to get that link and put it below.
And so once they do that, right, so they could totally, they can get that new lease done, and then they can move into the new place, and then they can take your money and they can buy the new equipment. Now, when they buy that new equipment, you better make sure that it takes credit cards, and then it's got some kind of automated method, so that way there's not a bunch of quarters that somebody's got to pick up.
Yeah.
Because you never know where those quarters go.
Well, and we want to build something that can scale. And the way that I see it is that one investment in a business that can then scale and kind of revolutionize itself and then build multiple areas around the island. The nice thing is that we can have spot after spot after spot, and it's pretty easy to stay inside of the opportunity zone.
Absolutely.
Which we have an advantage in Puerto Rico that's unlike anywhere else in the country that I'm aware of. We're basically the size of Connecticut, and the whole thing is an opportunity zone. So that makes it really nice.
It does.
When you're thinking about a pizza shop or whatever. It doesn't matter, but you can have store after store after store, and you don't have to worry about having a bad. I think you can get a bad asset if you were, say, in opportunity zone in Orlando, Florida, and then you open up one in the outside of the opportunity zone, right? And it could mess up your fund. Where we don't have that problem. Or it's not nearly as prominent.
Correct.
We've got 98%.
It's and it corrects, it makes it easier from both your 70% test.
Okay.
But it also helps on the 50% income test.
Okay.
Because that's driven by where your employees work.
Yeah.
And so if you've got 50% of your hours or 50% of your total comp, then that's how you get to that 50% gross income test. And so the great thing about Puerto Rico is that even if your workers are working from home, more than likely they're working in an opportunity zone.
Nice.
And so that allows you to hit that test a lot easier too, which actually kind of presents a really interesting opportunity for folks inside of Puerto Rico, is that if they can facilitate kind of gig work, if they can facilitate, being able to do services for people, it becomes a play for other opportunity zones on the mainland to contract with them to provide those services. And so, Puerto Rico is kind of in the catbird seat with respect to that, because anywhere you're going to work, you're going to be able to give that company that verification that you're working in an opportunity zone, and it's going to count towards their 50% income test, which is really cool.
I didn't even think about that one.
That's right.
That's just another good nugget. All right, well, that's great. I think we got a lot of powerful information here. So if somebody's ready to take the next step and they want to contact you and they want to maybe have a call with you, what do we do? How do we get that done?
So OZPros is specifically set up with a process about how we can take people and we can make sure that their strategy works, right? So we can educate them about opportunity zones, we can tell them how to do it, and we can make sure that it's actually going to work for them. And then we've got the forms, we've got the product, we've got the stuff that they're actually going to need in order to do it. And so if they go to OZPros.com, they can book a strategy call. We've also got products there relative to kind of bundles of videos and other stuff that they can pick up and that they can utilize in order to actually do opportunity zones, because that's what we're all about.
Yep.
We're not about talking, we're actually about doing opportunity zones.
You've done a few of those strategy calls, right?
Yeah, about 1,500 of them.
Nice. So, I mean, it really is a great value add for anyone watching. Contact Ashley, set up a call, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll help you do your opportunity zone journey.
Like, comment, smash the subscribe button for us.